Hey YouTube, just wanted to do a very quick video about unconditional surrender setup and storage options. This is one of my first, I would say, big war games. And I don't have a lot of table space. So I saw several questions online, people having similar situations. So this is the best setup I was able to create with what I have. So as you can see, I'm using a couple foldable picnic tables, I guess. They are quite small, they are 2x4s, and the absolute minimum space I think you need to play this game is 4x4 feet. So these two tables together, they work well. I do not have the deluxe maps, so this is just a paper map, two of them. As you can see, the map alone is just almost 4x4 or 3x4. On top of it, I have a plexi. It's a 3mm plexi, very useful for this game and many others. Not so thick that you do not see really where your counters are, which hex exactly, so not too thick. It's a little bit flexible, but not too much. The other thing is I decided to buy a couple of extra dice for this game, for the weather. This was like $2. If you take a look, unlike the previous edition, dice that come with the game, they are for combat, so one color per faction. The previous edition, I think it was one color per weather zone or something like that. I like this, but then I prefer to have extra dice for the weather. The other thing is you are going to constantly use these player aids. So they decided to include several of those, 3 actually. So the first one I have completely unfolded. You use this one all the time for combat, all kinds of combat, and you have all the reference here. You are going to read this all the time. On top of it, I have this one. It's a second one folded, because this is the part you use the most. You have the production costs, movement costs, and such. And handy, I have a third one. It's actually the second page of this one here. Why? Well, this, you only need this really at the beginning of each turn, because you have the weather table here, but you don't really need that under the plexi. The other thing you might need is, particularly if you are new, is this auto player aid. It's for the turn sequence. So if you keep these two handy, plus what you see under the plexi, you should be fine. The other thing I have under the plexi is you have this option of using a single player aid for the 3 faction cards. I only play solo, so that's good for me. Takes less space. And same thing for production and national wheel. That's pretty much it. The one thing you need to keep track of, if you cannot remember, like myself, if you play over several days, is which policies are actually activated. So I don't know why they do not include any counters for that. So you need to, I don't know, either remember that or write it down. What else? For the counters themselves, so this is what I did. This is a standard GMT counter tray. Let me try to get a better picture of it. So with a single try you should be good. The way I separated all this is here these two I have production and wheel for Western countries. These two is production and wheel for Eastern countries. Otherwise it takes, every time you need to activate a new country or conquer a country, you need to, it takes a longer. Then here I have counters for diplomacy, for pro faction, all of them. I have the assault markers, you're going to use this a lot. The supply, all the sorties, you have a ton of this, so I divided those in three parts, and then the control markers, they're two-sided. Then these are for support, and these are for diplomacy too, so are for ceded areas. So with just one try you should be fine. Then this is just for markers, events and such, for the troops. So I have a one baggie for all the smaller countries all together. It's just a couple of units of each one, so it's fine. It doesn't take that long. I have a couple more baggies. This is for the Soviets. If you take a look, so I have all the units here, and then I have a smaller baggie in there for the events. So it's pretty quick to get those. One for the Soviets, one for the Italians, and the Turkish, and the Polish. I have the same setup for Germans, and the UK, USA, and the French. And then, to make your life easier, if you take a look, many of these counters, this is in the rules, but many of the counters, they have this small yellow triangle. This is for future expansions, so you don't need this right now. So pretty much every faction, they have this option, so make yourself a favor and put this apart. Finally, and this is for new wargamers like myself, some more equipment you're going to need. Get one of these, or make it one yourself. It will happen eventually that you're going to roll dice top of the plex and you will just, ruin your game because you're going to tumble something. So just use one of these. The second thing you're going to need is this, tweezers. I got this on AliExpress for, I think, $3 or $2. Very important. They have a pointy end, so even if you have a stack, you can just get the bottom one and pick up the whole stack. So very handy. Get one of those. What else? Finally, I was a little bit skeptic, but if you take a look at my counters, you will see that they are, I just cut the corners. It's not just because they look nicer, maybe they do, maybe they don't. It's because when you stack them together, it works better this way. Otherwise, you have the pointy ends and they will, attach to each other. So what to use? Just one of these, good enough. I guess you can buy this expensive tool for $50 or so, but this nail clipper is good enough for me. And that's pretty much it. So this setup is going to be good for many war games, but for this one, again, I think a 4x4 surface like this one should be fine. I'm in the middle of training mission number 4, and I'm really loving this game. So So I hope this was useful for you guys. See you next time.